Part 6. Alex woke early, feeling excitement and nerves. Today was the day of their engagement ceremony. Word had spread across the palace and the city. Some cheered, others whispered, and a few still looked wary. Alex dressed in a simple but neat uniform, his heart racing as he thought of Lyra. In the royal gardens, Lyra prepared for the ceremony. She wore a flowing white gown that glowed in the morning sun. Her pale blue hair was loose and soft around her shoulders. She held a bouquet of silver and violet flowers, symbols of hope and unity. Lyra looked at her reflection in a small mirror. She felt happy and scared, knowing she had changed the future of her people. Guests gathered in the garden. Humans and aliens stood together, forming two sides but sharing the same anticipation. The queen sat on her throne, dressed in regal robes. Beside her were nobles who supported Lyra and those who still doubted. At the center was a stone arch covered in flowers. Beneath the arch, Lyra would ask Alex to marry her officially. Alex arrived, escorted by his friend Jason and a group of human guards. Humans bowed to the queen, and aliens nodded respectfully. Alex saw Lyra standing under the arch. Her eyes met his, and he felt calm. The queen spoke first. Today we witness a union born from courage and love. May this bond guide our peoples to a lasting peace. Her voice echoed through the quiet garden. Lyra stepped forward, her heart beating fast. She took Alex's hand and looked into his eyes. Alex, she began, her voice gentle but strong, you have shown me kindness, courage, and hope. You have built trust between our worlds. Will you marry me and stand by my side as we lead our peoples together? Alex's throat felt tight. He knelt on one knee, holding Lyra's hand with both of his. Princess Lyra, you brought light to my life. I promise to love and protect you, to honor you, and to work for peace and unity. I will marry you. He paused, his voice clear. Will you marry me? The garden was silent as Lyra smiled and nodded. Yes, Alex, I will marry you. Cheers erupted from the guests. Humans and aliens clapped, and some cried with joy. The queen waved. Rise, my daughter, and her chosen partner. Lyra helped Alex to his feet. They faced each other beneath the flowered arch. A royal priest spoke the vows in both human and alien languages. Lyra and Alex repeated the words simply. When the priest pronounced them married, they exchanged rings. Alex's was made of human silver, and Lyra's was forged from an alien crystal that glowed faintly. A gentle breeze moved through the garden. As Lyra and Alex shared their first official kiss as husband and wife, the crowd cheered louder and the music began again. After the ceremony, a feast waited in the palace courtyard. Tables held foods from both worlds. Alex and Lyra walked among the guests, greeting them with smiles and words of thanks. Many came to shake their hands and offer gifts of flowers, fruits, and small charms. As the sun set, lanterns lit the courtyard. The music blended human and alien instruments in a joyful mix. People danced together, laughter filling the air. Alex and Lyra joined in, dancing among friends and strangers alike. Later, they found a quiet corner under a tall tree with silver leaves. Lyra rested her head on Alex's shoulder. Today felt perfect, she said, looking up at him. Alex kissed her forehead. It is perfect because I am with you. Lyra smiled and closed her eyes. I know our path will not always be easy. There will be challenges. But today we made a promise. Together we can face anything. Alex held her close. I believe that, princess. As your husband and your partner, I will stand with you always. They watched the festivities from their quiet spot, feeling at peace. In the following days, the palace and the city began real changes. Humans and aliens worked together to rebuild old neighborhoods, start new markets, and create schools where children of both worlds could learn together. The treaty moved forward stronger than before, guided by Lyra and Alex's example. Some old fears and doubts remained, but each time people saw the couple walking side by side, he in his simple uniform, she in her royal gown, they remembered that love and trust could cross any barrier. As night fell on the day of their wedding, Alex and Lyra stood on the highest tower of the palace, looking at the lights of the city below. The stars above seemed to shine brighter. Lyra turned to Alex, her eyes full of hope. We have started something new, Alex. A future where humans and aliens live together in peace. Alex smiled and took her hand. We have, and this is only the beginning. They stood together. Two hearts joined across the galaxy, ready to face whatever came next, with courage and love lighting their way. The palace was quiet in the early morning light, but Alex felt restless. After the attack at the feast, the Queen had insisted on extra security measures. Everyone was on edge. Alex prepared for his shift, checking his gear and his uniform. He thought of Lyra and wondered how she was feeling. Meanwhile, in the royal chambers, Lyra sat with her mother, the Queen. The Queen's face was gentle but firm. She spoke of responsibilities and alliances. Lyra, she said, peace is fragile. You must choose a partner who will help both our people. These talks with the humans must not fail. Lyra nodded, but her heart felt heavy. She thought of Alex, but she knew that a princess had duties that reached beyond her heart. I understand, Mother, she said softly, though her mind was full of doubt. As the sun rose higher, Alex and the other guards gathered in the courtyard. The Queen and high nobles would arrive for a meeting about the peace treaty. Alex took his place near the entrance. He saw Lyra come out of the palace, dressed in a simple gown but looking regal. She walked toward him, her steps sure. Good morning, Alex, she said. Her voice carried a note of urgency. Good morning, Princess, Alex replied. Are you well? Lyra looked toward the palace and then back at him. I need your help today. I must meet suitors soon, but I cannot face them without knowing you are safe. Will you stay by my side? Alex bowed his head. Of course, I will serve you as always. Lyra smiled gratefully. Together they entered the great hall, where nobles from both worlds stood in small groups. The air was tense. Behind Lyra, Alex noticed Lord Soren's absence. The Queen had removed him, but his followers still whispered in corners. One by one, the suitors entered. They were men from alien royal houses and human empires. Each greeted Lyra formally, offering words of alliance and promises of loyalty. Lyra listened politely, but felt no joy. Her eyes searched the room for Alex, who remained near the doors. Every so often their eyes met, and Alex gave her a small nod of encouragement. The suitors spoke of wealth and power, of trade routes and treaties. Lyra thanked each one, but her smile never reached her eyes. Alex watched her, wishing he could say the words she needed to hear. As the final suitor spoke, a messenger burst into the hall. He knelt before the Queen, breathless. Your Majesty, trouble in the Northern District? A group of citizens is protesting the treaty. They demand more rights for humans and fewer taxes on alien merchants. The Queen frowned. Bring me more details. Lyra, stay here. I must address this immediately. Lyra stared at the messenger. She saw fear and anger in the eyes of the nobles behind her. Many whispered about how the treaty might be failing. The Queen left in haste, leaving Lyra alone in the hall. Alex stepped forward. Princess, may I accompany you? Lyra hesitated. Yes, please, I do not want to travel alone. Together they left the hall and mounted a small hover platform. They traveled through the city, past winding streets and tall towers. The noise of the city was low, but as they neared the Northern District, the sound of shouting grew louder. They arrived at a busy plaza where humans and aliens stood on opposite sides of a barrier. The humans held signs demanding equality, while the aliens argued for the treaty to stay as it was. Tension crackled in the air. Step back, Alex called to a group of young protesters who pushed against the barrier. His calm voice carried authority, and they moved aside. Lyra stood before the barrier, her presence commanding silence. She lifted her hand and spoke. People of both worlds, I know your fears. I know change is hard and many feel left behind. I promise to listen. We will find a way that respects everyone. The crowd quieted. A human woman stepped forward. Princess Lyra, will the taxes on our farms be reduced? We cannot feed our families if the prices stay high. Lyra looked at her. I will bring this to the Queen's Council. We will find a solution, you have my word. Then an alien merchant spoke. I worry humans will take our markets. Will we be protected? Lyra nodded. We will create laws that protect both our traders and your merchants. No one will lose by this treaty, Alex watched Lyra speak. He felt pride in her strength and kindness. After her words, the crowd began to murmur in agreement. The anger that filled the plaza moments before was fading. When the meeting ended, Lyra turned to Alex. Thank you for your help. I could not have done this alone. Alex smiled. You were born for this. I only helped keep the peace. Lyra took his hand for a moment. I have never felt so sure of my path. Thank you, Alex. As they left, Lyra's mind was still heavy with her choices. She knew she must meet a suitor soon who would help heal these divisions. But she also knew her heart belonged to Alex. That night in her private chambers, Lyra sat at a mirror. She wore a gown of deep blue. Her pale hair was loose over her shoulders. She held a small box in her hands. Inside was a simple ring, a family heirloom meant for her true mate. She thought of the suitors, their words of power and politics. Then she thought of Alex's honest eyes, his kindness, his courage. Her heart ached with longing. Without hesitation, she slipped the ring onto her finger. She knew it would mean breaking tradition, but she could not pretend any longer. The next morning, Lyra went to the throne room. The nobles had gathered to hear her decision. Alex stood nearby, his posture tense with worry. The queen watched her daughter with calm eyes. Lyra, you have chosen your mate? Lyra took a breath and stepped forward. The entire hall was silent. She faced the nobles and spoke in a clear voice. Today I choose my mate not for power or alliances, but for love and unity. I choose Alex? Gasps echoed through the hall. Humans and aliens alike stared in shock. Lord Soren's former allies looked ready to protest. The queen rose, her face unreadable. Lyra, the queen said, this choice defies every tradition. It will change our alliances and possibly affect our treaty. Are you certain? Lyra met her mother's gaze without fear. I am certain. Alex has shown me the path to true unity. He has my heart and my trust. The room held its breath. Then the queen spoke. Softly. So be it. If this is your choice, you have my blessing. Cheers and cries of surprise broke out. Some nobles accepted the choice, while others whispered doubts. Alex felt his heart pound as he realized the depth of Lyra's decision. Lyra walked to where Alex stood and took his hand. In front of everyone, she placed her other hand on his arm. Will you marry me, Alex? She asked, her voice steady. Alex's eyes filled with tears. He knelt before her. Yes, princess, I will marry you. The hall erupted in applause. The ancient palace walls shook with sound. Friends and former critics alike cheered for the couple, who dared to choose love over tradition. That evening, the palace returned to celebration. The news of Lyra's choice spread across the city. Humans and aliens came together, dancing in the streets. Alex and Lyra stood on a balcony looking at the crowd below. Alex wrapped an arm around Lyra. You have changed everything, princess. Lyra smiled, leaning into him. We changed everything. Together we will build a world where love and peace come first. Under the alien moon, they shared a quiet kiss. The future was uncertain, but their hearts were sure. Peace would not be easy, but they would face it side by side. And so, their journey toward unity and love continued, guided by courage and kindness in a galaxy ready to heal. As the first light of dawn touched the palace towers, Alex stood on duty outside the royal hall. The day of the celebration had come. After the queen had cleared his name, she decided to hold a feast to honor his bravery. The feast was meant to bring humans and aliens together. People hoped this event would mark the start of true peace. The great hall was decorated with golden lanterns and bright banners. Tables were set with dishes from both Earth and the alien world. Alex checked his uniform, adjusting his belt and straightening his coat. He felt a mix of pride and nerves. He had never been the center of attention before. Princess Lyra arrived wearing a soft lavender dress. Her pale blue hair was braided and decorated with tiny flowers. She walked toward Alex, her smile warm but her eyes serious. Thank you for being here, she said quietly. It is my honor, Alex replied. He held the doors open for her. Together, they entered the hall. The crowd fell silent as they saw the princess with the human guard. Then the hall burst into applause. Alex felt many eyes on him, some friendly, some still unsure. But when Lyra squeezed his arm, he remembered he was not alone. The queen rose from her throne and spoke in a clear voice. Today we celebrate courage, friendship, and the hope for a peaceful future. Let us honor Alex, who showed bravery and heart. May his example guide us all. Cheers and claps filled the hall. Alex bowed to the queen and then to the crowd. He walked with Lyra to a special seat, near the queen's throne. Lyra sat beside him, and he could see gratitude in her eyes. As the feast began, Alex and Lyra talked quietly. Lyra leaned close. I am proud of you. You did more than fight. You showed our people a new path. Alex smiled. I only did what felt right. I hope it helps. Lyra took his hand for a moment. It has helped more than you know. After the main meal, music began. Alien musicians played soft melodies, and human musicians joined with their own instruments. For a moment, the two styles mixed into a new sound. People looked surprised, then began to smile and clap to the rhythm. Lyra stood and offered her hand. Tio, Alex, will you dance with me? She asked. Alex hesitated. He had never danced at a royal feast. But seeing her hope, he nodded. They moved to the center of the hall. Many watched as the princess and the human guard began a slow dance. At first, Alex was awkward, but Libby guided him gently. Soon, he found the rhythm. Dancing close to Lyra, Alex saw her blush. He felt warmth spread through him. Around them, the crowd watched quietly, then began to cheer. The music rose, and other couples joined the dance floor, humans and aliens dancing. Together, as the dance ended, Lyra and Alex returned to their seats. Alex realized how much he cared for her. He watched her laugh with friends, her face bright. Later, Lyra took Alex aside near a side door. There is something I must tell you, she said, her voice soft. Soon I will have to meet suitors for a political marriage. My mother expects me to choose someone to strengthen our alliances. Alex felt his heart tighten. I understand. Lyra looked at him with sorrow. I do not want that life. One wish I could choose love instead of politics. But I fear I have little choice. Alex took her hand. I wish I could change their minds, but if you ever need me, I will stand by you. Lyra's eyes glistened. Thank you, Alex. Your support means more than you know. As they spoke, a sudden alarm sounded. A messenger ran toward the queen, whispering urgent news. The music stopped and people looked around, confused. The queen stood. What is happening? She asked. The messenger bowed. A group of saboteurs has entered the palace grounds. They plan to attack the feast. Panic rippled through the hall. Without thinking, Alex stood and drew his sidearm. I will protect the princess, he said. Lyra single quotes S eyes widened. Be careful. Screams came from one of the side corridors. Alex rushed there, Lyra close behind. He saw armed figures moving toward the kitchen area where many servants and guests waited. Calling out, Alex shouted, Stop! But they opened fire, forcing Alex to seek cover. He returned fire carefully, aiming to disarm, not to kill. Lyra watched in fear from behind a pillar. Jason and other guards joined Alex. Together, they pushed the saboteurs back toward the corridor. One saboteur tried to shoot Alex from above on a balcony. Alex dove aside and fired, hitting the saboteur's weapon, causing it to fall. The saboteur ran away. Finally, the saboteurs were driven out of the palace by the combined guards. The king's soldiers arrived and captured the attackers. The hall was quiet and shaken. Alex found Lyra trembling near the corridor. He went to her and gently held her shoulders. Are you okay? He asked. Lyra nodded, tears in her eyes. You saved many lives today. You are my hero. Alex felt relief and pride. I am glad you are safe. The queen and nobles arrived. The queen looked at Alex with gratitude. Thank you for your bravery, she said. You have earned our deepest respect. The queen turned to Lyra. My daughter, you were brave too to follow him. I see that your heart guides you well. Lyra looked at Alex, her face full of emotion. She reached out and took his hand. Without Alex, this feast would have ended in tragedy. The crowd applauded. Again, Alex blushed as best he could. Later that night, the feast resumed in a calmer mood. Alex and Lyra walked through the crowded hall. People came up to thank him. Some bowed, others shook his hand. Alex smiled politely, feeling a deep sense of belonging. At the end of the night, Lyra led Alex out to the balcony. The moon had risen, and the palace lights shone below like stars. Lyra wrapped her arms around Alex's arm. "Tonight felt like hope and fear mixed together," she said. "But with you here, I feel safe and happy." Alex looked at her face. "I feel the same. You help me believe in a future where humans and aliens live together." They stood in silence, the soft wind around them. Lyra sighed. "I wish things were simpler. But maybe they can be, if we stay true to what we believe." Alex turned to her. "I believe in you. And I believe in us." Lyra looked into his eyes, her heart full of warmth. She felt the pull of duty, but also the pull of love. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything," Alex smiled. "Thank you for trusting me." They stayed on the balcony until the first birds sang in the distance. The night was long, but in that moment, they both felt a quiet promise of what could come next. Alex waited alone in the small stone room, his mind racing with worry and fear. He had not done anything wrong, but someone wanted him gone from the palace. The walls around him felt cold, and the small window let in only a little light. He remembered Lyra's promise and hoped she would find the truth. Every sound in the hallway made him jump, thinking guards were coming for him again. Time moved slowly, and Alex's thoughts kept going back to the night in the garden, to Lyra's words and her gentle kindness. Those memories gave him hope. Outside, Lyra was busy trying to help him. She went to see her younger brother, Rian, who trusted Alex and believed in peace with humans. Rian listened as Lyra told him about the plot against Alex. "I believe you," Rian said. "We will find who did this." Together, they made a list of the nobles who hated humans the most. At the top of the list was Lord Soren. He had always spoken against humans and wanted them gone from the palace. Lyra and Rian visited the head of the palace servants, a woman named Myra. Myra told them that Lord Soren's servant had been near the storage room just before the alarm. Lyra's eyes narrowed with suspicion. She and Rian decided to follow the clues. They searched for more information, talking to guards, servants, and anyone who might have seen something unusual. Slowly, the truth started to come together. At the same time, Jason, Alex's friend among the human guards, worked to help him. Jason knew Alex was honest and loyal. He asked the other guards if anyone had seen Lord Soren's servant with anything strange. One guard, a quiet man named Ben, remembered seeing the servant with a small badge like the one found at the crime scene. Jason quickly told Lyra what he had learned. Lyra and Rian decided to search Lord Soren's private rooms. They waited until night, when the palace was quiet. Together with Jason and Ben, they moved carefully through the empty halls. Rian kept watch while the others looked for anything that would prove Alex's innocence. At first, they found nothing. Then, in a locked box, Lyra discovered several small items that belonged to humans, including badges just like Alex's. She realized that Lord Soren had taken them to use in his plot. Meanwhile, Alex was still in his cell. A guard brought him food but did not speak. Alex tried to stay calm, thinking about his life back on Earth and the friends he had lost in the war. He remembered his promise to never give up hope, no matter how bad things became. His mind was filled with questions about what would happen next. Would Lyra find the truth? Would he ever see her again? Late that night, the door to Alex's cell opened. It was Lyra, with Rian and Jason behind her. "Come quickly," she whispered. "We found proof you are innocent." Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him. He followed them through secret halls, away from the eyes of the palace guards. They returned to Lyra's rooms, where she showed him the box with the stolen items. "We must take this to my mother," Lyra said. "She will know what to do." In the morning, Lyra and Alex went to the Queen's chambers with Rian and Jason. The Queen listened as Lyra explained everything. She looked at the evidence and then called for Lord Soren. When he arrived, the queen questioned him about the stolen items. At first, Soren lied, saying he knew nothing. But under pressure from the queen, and when faced with the proof, he finally confessed. Soren admitted he wanted Alex gone because he did not trust humans. "You have broken the peace of this palace," the queen said to Soren. "You have lied and tried to harm an innocent person." She ordered that Lord Soren be removed from the palace at once. The other nobles watched in shock as Soren was led away. With Lord Soren gone, the mood in the palace changed. Many who had been afraid of humans started to see that Alex was different. Some nobles who had stayed silent before began to speak kindly. To him, the Ain Queen herself praised Alex for his calm and honest nature. "You have shown great patience and courage," she said. "You are welcome here." For the first time since coming to the palace, Alex felt truly accepted. Lyra smiled at him, her eyes full of pride. Rian clapped Alex on the shoulder, and even Jason seemed more relaxed. The news spread quickly. Human and alien servants both whispered about the bravery of Princess Lyra and Alex. Some said that this was the beginning of real peace between the two peoples. As the days passed, Alex's duties changed. Instead of being watched with suspicion, he was now invited to join meetings and dinners. Lyra asked him to walk with her in the gardens, not just as her guard, but as her friend. Together they talked about their hopes for the future. Alex felt happiness growing in his heart, a quiet hope that things could get better. One afternoon, Alex stood with Lyra on a balcony overlooking the city. The air was warm, and the sky glowed with the colors of sunset. "I was afraid we would lose you," Lyra said. "I did not want you to leave." "I would never leave unless you asked me to," Alex replied. "I have found something important here. I have found friendship, and maybe even more." Lyra looked away, her cheeks a pale shade of purple that showed her blush. "It is rare for someone in my position to find a true friend. I hope our worlds can change together." Just then, Rian ran up to them, breathless. "The queen wants to see both of you." In the queen's chamber, the queen spoke with kindness. "Your friendship has brought new hope to our court," she said. "It is time we begin to speak openly about peace. I want you both to help with the talks." Alex felt nervous but proud. "I will do my best, Your Majesty." Lyra agreed. "We will do all we can." As the peace talks began, Alex and Lyra worked side by side. They listened to humans and aliens alike, taking ideas and trying to help everyone feel heard. It was hard work. Some people were still afraid, and others were angry. But slowly, little by little, trust began to grow. One night, after a long day of meetings, Alex sat in the garden with Lyra. The stars above them were bright and endless. Lyra leaned closer to him. "Sometimes I worry that it is all too much," she whispered. "But then I remember you are here. You give me strength." Alex took her hand gently. "I feel the same. Together we are stronger." Their friendship became the talk of the palace. Some people still gossiped, but most now saw that something special was happening. Humans and aliens started to share meals and stories. The old fear and anger did not disappear, but it grew weaker every day as the days passed. Alex realized how much he had come to care for Lyra. He looked forward to seeing her, to hearing her laugh, to sharing his worries and hopes with her. He saw the same feelings in her eyes. Yet both of them felt unsure about what would happen next. Lyra was a princess and he was just a human guard. Could they ever be more than friends? One evening, Lyra brought Alex to the edge of the palace gardens, where the lights of the city sparkled in the distance. "I want you to know," she said softly, "that I will always be grateful to you. You have changed my life." Alex smiled. "You have changed mine too." As they stood together, the future seemed full of hope and possibility. The troubles that had once filled the palace now felt far away. For Alex and Lyra, the hardest days were behind them, but new questions and new adventures were just beginning. Together they faced the unknown, trusting in the friendship and trust they had built, and looking forward to what would come next. The days after the royal event were busy for Alex. He noticed that people in the palace watched him even more closely than before. Some of the alien guards were polite, but many were not. They looked at him with suspicion or jealousy. Some of the human guards whispered about him behind his back. They wondered why the princess, out of all people, had chosen him to be her escort. Alex tried to ignore the stares and focus on his work, but he could feel the tension growing around him. Evening, after his shift had ended, Alex walked through the palace gardens. The air was cool and full of the soft sounds of night creatures. He liked to walk here to clear his mind. The garden was a quiet place, with tall glowing flowers and silver leaves that shimmered in the starlight. Alex felt peaceful here, even. When the rest of the palace felt like a storm. Suddenly, Alex heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned and saw Princess Lyra standing at the entrance to the garden. She was alone, wearing a simple robe instead of her royal gown. She looked nervous, her eyes darting around as if afraid someone might see her. "Good evening, Alex," she said, her voice gentle. "Good evening, Princess," Alex answered, bowing his head slightly. Lyra walked up beside him. "I hope I am not bothering you. I wanted to speak with you away from the eyes of the court." Alex smiled a little. "It is nice to see you." The gardens are peaceful at night. For a while, they walked in silence. The path wound through the glowing flowers, and the air was filled with the sweet smell of the alien plants. Lyra seemed more relaxed as they walked. Finally, she spoke again. "I wanted to thank you for how you acted during the event," she said. "I saw how you helped the servant. I saw how you stayed calm even when others tried to make you feel small." Alex shook his head. "It was nothing. I just tried to do what felt right." "It was not nothing," Lyra said. "Many here would not have helped. You remind me that kindness is more powerful than people think." Alex looked at her. "Kindness is the only thing that ever made a real difference in my life." Lyra smiled softly, and for a moment she seemed less like a princess and more like a friend. As they reached a small fountain in the middle of the garden, Lyra sat down on a stone bench. Alex sat beside her, careful to keep a respectful distance. They talked quietly about their worlds. Lyra asked about Alex's home, about the places he missed most. Alex talked about the green hills of his town, about his mother's cooking, and about the rivers where he used to swim as a child. Lyra listened closely, her eyes wide with curiosity. Then Lyra spoke about her own life. She told Alex that being a princess was not as easy as it looked. She always had to follow rules, always had to make her mother proud, and always had to hide her true feelings. She said she wanted to learn more about the world, not just rule it from a throne. Alex listened and nodded, understanding her loneliness. He realized that, in many ways, Lyra was just as lost as he was. Their conversation grew deeper as the night went on. Alex talked about the war, about how he lost friends, and about the sadness that sometimes filled him. He told Lyra he did not want to fight anymore. He wanted peace between their peoples. Lyra listened and, for the first time, shared that she was afraid too. She did not want another war. She wanted her people to have hope again. As they spoke, neither of them noticed the shadows behind the trees. Two alien nobles watched from a distance, their faces full of anger. They whispered together, planning how to use this meeting against Alex. They wanted to cause trouble for the human guard and push him out of the palace. Lyra and Alex stayed in the garden until the stars had shifted in the sky. Finally, Lyra stood up. "I should go," she said. "If I am missed, people will ask questions." Alex nodded. "Thank you for trusting me, Princess." Lyra smiled. "I trust you because you listen. Good night, Alex." As she walked away, Alex watched her go, feeling hope and worry at the same time. He knew things would not be easy, but he was glad to have found someone who understood him. The next morning, the palace was buzzing with rumors. Alex heard from another human guard named Jason that some nobles were angry about his meeting with Lyra. Whispers spread quickly, and soon everyone was talking about how close the human guard had become with the princess. Alex kept his head down, doing his work, but inside he felt uneasy. That afternoon, while he was standing guard near the royal kitchens, two alien guards approached him. "The queen wishes to see you," one said. Their tone was cold. Alex followed them through the palace, his heart pounding in his chest. In the queen's chamber, the air was thick with silence. The queen sat on her throne, her face unreadable. Beside her stood Lyra, looking worried. Several important nobles were there as well, including Lord Soren, who was known for his dislike of humans. "Alex," the queen said, "there are serious claims against you. It is said that you were in a restricted area last night. You must explain yourself." Alex stood tall. "Your Majesty, I was in the gardens. I was not alone. Princess Lyra was with me. We spoke openly. I did nothing wrong." Lord Soren stepped forward. "You broke palace rules? No guard is allowed in the gardens after dark unless ordered. You must be punished," Lyra spoke up quickly. "He did nothing wrong. I invited him. I wanted to learn more about his world." The queen looked at her daughter. "Lyra, you know our customs. But I will hear more before I judge." For hours, the nobles argued. Some wanted Alex removed from the palace, others said he should stay. Finally, the queen decided that there was not enough proof to punish Alex, but she warned him to follow the rules closely from now on. Alex thanked the queen and bowed, then left the room with Lyra. In the hallway, Lyra sighed with relief. "I am sorry, Alex. This is my fault. I did not think others would use our friendship against you." Alex shook his head. "It is not your fault. Some people are afraid of change. They want to stop anything new." Lyra nodded. "We must be careful, but I do not want to stop talking to you." From that day, Alex and Lyra met less often and always in safe, public places. But even so, their friendship grew stronger. They wrote short notes to each other, hidden among the palace books and flowers. They learned to trust each other, to share small hopes and fears. One day, Alex found a message waiting for him. "Meet me in the library at sunset," it said, signed by Lyra. When he arrived, Lyra was waiting with a worried look on her face. "I have heard rumors," she whispered. "Someone is planning to frame you for a crime. I do not know what, but please be careful." Alex nodded. "Thank you for warning me. I will be careful." That night, Alex felt the weight of danger. He checked his gear, watched every step, and trusted no one fully except Lyra and his old friend Jason. Still, he knew that he could not hide forever. Someone in the palace wanted him gone. Days passed with tension in the air. Then, during a busy afternoon, an alarm sounded in the royal storage room. Valuable items were missing, and the guards found one of Alex's personal badges at the scene. The nobles were quick to blame him. Alex tried to speak, but his words were ignored. He was locked in a small room and ordered to wait for judgment, alone in the cell. Alex thought about everything that had happened since he came to the palace. He thought about Lyra, about their friendship, and about the hope he had started to feel. He refused to give up. Hours later, Lyra came to see him. "I will not let them do this to you," she said, her eyes full of determination. "I will find out who is behind this." Alex smiled, grateful for her courage. "I trust you, Lyra." As Lyra left to seek the truth, Alex waited in the dark room, holding on to the hope that friendship and trust could win against fear and lies. The future was uncertain, but Alex knew that he was not alone anymore. He had someone who believed in him, and that gave him the strength to keep going. Alex stood in the grand hallway of the alien palace, the strange patterns of the walls catching the light from above. His uniform felt tight and heavy on his shoulders, but he stood tall. He was one of the first humans chosen to serve as a guard in this alien world. After the long war between humans and the people of this planet, everyone watched him with careful eyes. The memories of battles were fresh, and trust was still new and fragile. As Alex waited, he remembered the first time he arrived at the palace. The air had smelled sweet, and the sky outside was a deep shade of violet. Everything here felt different from Earth, but he tried not to show his nerves. He knew that showing fear or anger would only make things worse. Alex had learned to keep his face calm, even when he felt lost. Today was an important day. The royal family was hosting a special event, and Alex had been chosen to escort the alien princess herself. Many of the other guards, both human and alien, had whispered about this. Some thought he was lucky, others were jealous, and a few were angry that a human had been picked for such an honor. But Alex knew he had to do his job well. He had heard stories about Princess Lyra. She was famous for her beauty and for being wise beyond her years. No human had ever spoken to her for more than a few words. Some said she looked down on humans, others said she was kind but shy. Alex had no idea what to expect. The doors opened, and Princess Lyra entered. She moved with a soft grace, her long pale blue hair shining in the light. Her eyes, the color of clear water, studied Alex as she stopped in front of him. She wore a flowing gown with symbols of her royal house. Alex bowed slightly, just as he had been taught. Lyra nodded back. "Hello, Alex," she said in a soft voice. "Thank you for being my escort." Alex was surprised she used his name. "It is my honor, Princess," he answered, trying to sound confident. Together, they walked down the long hallway, heading toward the Great Hall. People watched from every corner, their eyes full of questions. Lyra walked quietly beside Alex. For a while, neither spoke. Alex noticed how she held her hands close, almost as if she was nervous too. The Great Hall was bright and filled with music and laughter. Long tables were covered in silver plates and glowing fruit from the alien world. Nobles in shining robes gathered, speaking in low voices. At the center of the room, the alien queen, Lyra's mother, sat on a raised seat. Her presence filled the hall with a quiet power. Alex and Lyra approached together, and the queen gave them both a nod. As the event began, Alex stood at Lyra's side, watching everything. He saw the way some nobles looked at him like he was an outsider. Others looked at Lyra with curiosity, wondering why she chose a human guard. Alex tried not to think about the whispers. As the music played, a young servant carrying a heavy tray stumbled near the princess. Alex quickly reached out, steadying the tray before it fell. He smiled at the servant, who gave him a shy thank you. Lyra saw this small act, and her eyes softened. "You are gentle for a warrior," she said quietly, looking at him with new interest. Alex felt a little embarrassed. "I just try to help where I can." Lyra smiled for the first time, a real smile that made her seem less distant. "Most of my people forget to notice the small things. I see you do not." Time passed slowly, and the event continued. Lyra introduced Alex to a few of her closest friends, other young nobles who were polite but careful. They asked him about Earth, about the war, and about his dreams. Alex answered honestly, but kept his words simple. He talked about missing his family, about the long nights on guard duty, and about his hope for peace. As the night went on, Alex noticed the way Lyra treated everyone around her. She listened closely, even to the youngest servants. She spoke gently and thanked people by name. Alex realized that she was not only wise but also truly kind. When a group of nobles made a rude joke about humans, Alex saw Lyra's face grow serious. She stepped in and changed the subject, protecting him from their words without making a scene. Afterward, she looked at Alex with quiet apology. "Not everyone here is ready for peace yet," she said. Alex nodded. "I know, it will take time. I want to help if I can." The event was long, with dancing and speeches and endless food. Alex stayed by Lyra's side the whole time. At first, he felt out of place, but slowly, as people saw how he acted and how the princess smiled at him, the mood changed. A few nobles even spoke kindly to him, asking real questions about his life. Late in the evening, Lyra led Alex to a balcony overlooking the gardens. The stars in the alien sky looked larger and brighter than on Earth. For a while, they stood in silence, just watching the lights. "Do you ever miss your home?" Lyra asked, her voice soft in the cool night air. "Every day," Alex answered, his heart aching. "But I want to make a place for myself here too. I think peace is possible, even if it is hard." Lyra looked thoughtful. "I hope so. I am tired of war. I am tired of being afraid." Alex looked at her, really looked. He saw not just a princess, but a young woman who carried the weight of her people. He saw the loneliness in her eyes, the same loneliness he felt in his own heart. For the first time, Alex felt a connection. Not just as a guard and a princess, but as two people who understood each other. Thank you for sharing this night with me, Lyra said, her eyes meeting his. You are not like the others. Maybe that's a good thing, Alex said, trying to smile. The sound of laughter and music drifted out from the hall. But on the balcony, the world felt quiet and peaceful. Lyra and Alex talked for a while. Longer, about small things, flowers in the garden, the shape of the stars, and stories from Earth. With every word, the distance between them grew smaller. As the night ended, Lyra touched Alex's arm gently. I hope you will stay close. I have many things I want to learn from you. Alex nodded, feeling hope for the first time in months. I would like that, Princess. As they walked back inside, Alex noticed the way people looked at them had changed. The whispers were still there, but there was something softer in the eyes of those who watched. Maybe it was respect. Maybe it was just surprise. Either way, Alex felt something important had started that night. He stood guard as the royal family said their goodbyes and the event slowly ended. Lyra glanced back at him before leaving, a gentle smile on her lips when Alex returned to his small room in the palace. He lay awake thinking about the night. He wondered what the future would bring. He thought about the way Lyra listened, the way she stood up for him, and the quiet promise in her eyes. Maybe peace was really possible. And maybe, just maybe, he had found a friend in the most unlikely place of all.